Today is a satsang, and its theme is the heart of dying, to be conscious of death fully. And I can tell you a little bit about my experience of dying. It was in 1987, November of 1987. I can't believe that has come to me now. Yeah, November of 1987. It was around about 1:15, very early in the morning. And I was sleeping. I looked across at my husband, and the clock was there. And I looked at the clock, and I think it was definitely 1:15 or 1:13. It doesn't really matter. It's only because I happened to look at it in that very early morning. And as I looked at it, my breath wouldn't come in. I had breathed out, but the in-breath wouldn't come in. And I was getting very anxious, and I was banging at my chest, banging and banging. And then I tried to wake my husband up, but I couldn't do it. The in-breath wasn't coming in. I never experienced. The out-breath had gone, but the in-breath wasn't coming. And then I experienced myself, and I haven't talked to many people about this at all. I've never had the need to talk to them about it. It wasn't an experience that the I had, the body had, or the mind had. I was in the corner of my room, looking down on the bed, and my younger son was there, and my husband was there. And then suddenly I looked at them all, and I saw what they were all doing. They were all saying, and they're calling the doctors and everything. And I was laughing in the corner of my room, literally laughing, saying, "Huh? You can't see me now. Why are you crying? Why are you upset?" And I literally looked at that body from the corner, and there was absolutely no attachment to it. There wasn't no detachment either. There's no detachment or attachment, but there was just a seeing. And then somehow it felt like I'd gone out the window, and as I was going out the window, I could hear lots of screaming just kind of below me, and the smells were awful. It was like fiery smells, things were being burnt, and then I started hearing this kirtan, this music. And this music started singing my whole life. It even said whose great-grandchild I was. And that's when I heard the first time my mum's name, but she'd never mentioned it to me. And I told her when I came back, this Nanny's name. And I didn't. And as I went up, there was this beautiful hand. To me, I'd always had an affinity with Guru Nanak Ji's hand, which he held there like that for that peace. But this hand is full of light, and it took me up and up and up. And I saw the light, massive amount of light, and the love. And as I was going up, I saw these beautiful flowers, these big, bluey colors out of this world, with an embroidery on, and it was fickle. You couldn't touch it, or if you touched it, it became you. It was. You can't. That's why I say you can't experience it, because at the moment what we're experiencing through the vessel that we have is the body. And then I saw the light, the massive light, and the love was excruciatingly beautiful. And then I heard my granddad's voice. And I was very close to my granddad. He died in my arms at the age of 15. And I heard his voice and it said, Babia. He used to say that to me. And he used to call me. And the love. I literally, every part of you is just this love, this light. When you're talking about it, it's just like I'm reducing it, I'm constricting it. Can't explain it in words. And this is the love that we are loved. And soon as I was going up and up and up, felt like that, although I don't know what was going up. My son had recently just been born. Sorry, this couldn't have been November, because he was born on the 30th of November. This was December. This was in December. He was about a few weeks old, so it must have been the middle of December. And that doesn't, these things don't even matter, dates and times. And I heard this kind of voice or calling from me, from somewhere. They're saying, I've arrived and you're going. And somehow my attention went onto this. And there was a beautiful silver star. And it's nothing like the silver stars what we see. And there was like a tear dropping from it. And somehow my attention went to it. And then, in an instant, I came zooming back into my body. And my chest was this big. And my hands were all wrinkled. And something inside was panting to go back. It took a long time for me to I didn't know what was happening. The only thing I knew what had happened was I experienced the greatest love that I could ever have experienced. Not as a body-mind, I'm talking here. It's like my soul had been absorbed in this love that we all have come from and are going to. In between, we have a body, a constriction. We have a constriction and we go back into that. For 9 months, I was very, very, I couldn't even say I was confused. But for 9 months, I could see everybody's thoughts. So if you were sitting there talking, I could hear what you were saying, but I could see what was going inside you. And I thought that was your thinking. I thought, this is what you're thinking, and this is what you're saying. You are hypocrites. You're false. Because what you're thinking is different to what you're saying to that person. And I realized that I met people who I thought were really meaning what they were saying, but actually they weren't, because the thoughts were totally different to what they were actually saying. And I didn't like it. It was horrible. It felt very dull coming back into this world. I had my boys and the family, and that was the most beautiful thing of the world, but it still felt so dull and unloved. I felt I wanted to go back to that love. And I prayed for 9 months for this to go. I thought it was a problem. I didn't realize that thoughts are always moving through the consciousness. I didn't realize. And I didn't realize that I could, just like now, I can see, everybody's thoughts that are moving through right here, right now. They're moving through me, not just the limited body, but through the boundless body. Everybody's thoughts are moving through this consciousness now. Everybody's emotions are moving through. Stories are moving through. But at that time, I didn't know what was happening to me. I thought, where's this madness coming from? Why are you showing me other people's thoughts, God? And what they're saying is not aligned. So the first 9 months, I found it very tough. You know, you'd think that you've experienced the most beautiful light and love, and you come back and you'll be all joyous. No, not in this case. I experienced truth. So everything that was in the subconscious, unconscious in me, was coming out into that light. So all the darkest fears, the darkness in me, was coming out into the light. But I didn't have the understanding or the wisdom of it yet. So that was just a beginning of grace showing me that we are not just this body. There's space here, Nindapa, for you to sit. So, and it was incredible. I didn't know what was happening, and it was very painful for me. Very painful for me. Because a part of me didn't want to be here, because a part of me knew the falseness of this. The light hadn't integrated into my body yet. And yet, I was in that love and that light, as we all are. And so for that to integrate, a lot of my subconscious stuff had to come out. We are a lineage of stuff, the subconscious. So patterns that my father had, karmic patterns and tendencies, had to come out through me. My mother's had to come out through me. My granddad's had to come out. My grandma's had to come out, both sides. So the subconscious is coming out to be seen, and I didn't have the wisdom. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't have a teacher at that time. I wasn't that graced. I was living amongst people who wanted me to conform to my old ways and saying, why isn't she doing the things that she was doing? Why isn't she cooking that way? Why isn't she getting up? What's happened to her? And I didn't know. I was just not me. I was trying to find me somewhere. Where's that woman? I couldn't find myself. The role, that wife, that mother, that daughter, that... Because all this stuff had come out from the surface. And then certain patterns had to play themselves out. Certain patterns of behavior had to play themselves out. And they have to. You're playing your patterns out. Your psyche is coming out, playing its patterns for you to see it, because you are the light. I had no understanding that that light from which I was seeing, or it was being reflected, was actually coming from me too. I had, although left the body, I was in a part, still form there, very subtle form, which I was passing through. I didn't really want to talk about it to anybody, because it didn't really, there was nothing in me to really talk about it. But I did. I did begin. I remember, I'm sure I said it to my husband. But then something would stop talking. There was no sense in even explaining it. The biggest thing, the only thing I wanted to really tell people is there's really nothing to be scared of in death. There's so much love there. So much love and so much light. That's one thing I wanted to get across. Not because I needed to get it across, but because it was so beautiful. But then I realized I couldn't. I didn't realize that all this world is me. All these forms of everyone were me. And because I had left the form, the body form, and I was in the light, now all the parts of me were being frustrated, even in the others. And they also wanted to go back to the light. So there was frustration everywhere. Things began to settle down a bit. And this also, but then in the few years later, 1990, my father-in-law passes away. Somebody whom I loved so greatly, like my granddad. And I was with him again at that time of his dying, as I was with my granddad. So that took a while for everything that was attached. And there was a lot of love there, so I was very, very lucky that the attachment was to the love. So it took me into my depths even more. And then 1990 was when I broke the back. And now I feel it was some kind of Kundalini experience as I fell back, and my cervix were broken. And I went into emptiness. The pain was so excruciating. And then I remember screaming. And the scream just went to emptiness. And I was like in a bliss, in a coma of just total bliss. And a thought came, and what have you done for yourself? And I started saying, oh, I've done this for family, I've done this for family, I've done this for family. And then it asked again very gently, and what have you done for yourself? And I said, well, I've done this for children, I've done this for this, I've done this work. And then it asked again, and what have you done for yourself? And then there was emptiness and silence. And that was the death of the mind. Just emptiness and just this love. Because the self it was referring to was not my body self or my mind self. It was referring, what had I done for the light, for the true self that I am? So, the breaking of the back, I had to then laugh. I couldn't move. I couldn't laugh. I couldn't eat properly. I couldn't anything. Because again, the body was having to realign itself. Dying out of the body. When I'd gone to the light, that's dying out of the body. And now I died out of the body and the mind. There was no heaven, there wasn't no hell. There wasn't no voice. There was just this love and emptiness of everything. And of course, coming back from that, I struggled again. The I came back and it struggled again. Because now I'm a mom, I've got little kids, they want to be picked up, they want things done, I've got elders to look after, and I can't do any of it. So you can see what's happening, the undergrowth, the under substrata of that, subconscious and unconscious, is rising up for freedom to go back into that emptiness. But I don't have a clue of what's happening. All I know is now my body isn't even doing anything that I ask it to do. I don't know what's happening to me. You know, I feel that, and it's a big change for the family. It's a massive change. This woman, it was a doer. Now, she's just lying there. And who knows if she's going to be well? Who knows who's going to look after children or what? I was very grateful for my mother-in-law. Really grateful for the help and support I had. But it's a big jolt to them too. But remember now, everything around you is your body too. From the emptiness and the light and the love, everything's in there. Just like everything is inside your dream at night. It's all in you. So everyone is already inside you. But you can see the embodiment that's happening. It can take years. And then I was living through other family desires, family had, of me teaching. And then in '98, there were other issues happening by that time with my body. I had so many operations. There was stuff needed to come out of the psyche, cellular psyche, which I'd collected maybe from lifetimes. And then in '98, Bibi passes away. You're looking for a home for her, to have a toilet downstairs for her because she was on dialysis. And it was hard for the family to, me especially with my back, to lift her upstairs all the time. So we were looking for a home, and this is the home we found because it had a toilet downstairs. So the body was realigning itself, and then this home became a healing home. This is when we had a massive fire in '98 in this home. So things again were clearing in the psyche of my oral body. And again, I experienced certain things that broke my conditioning down. So the body, I knew the truth about me not being the body. It is our greatest gift, our vehicle. We had other great, subconscious stuff that had to come out from me. Financial stuff, nearly losing the house. Work stuff, me choosing not to work in an environment where there was no integrity and no security left for me financially. So this is all mind stuff. Just because I'd come out of the body, that didn't mean that I didn't have a mind full of stuff which I needed to really go through. We all have. So I was going through this body's mind stuff, parental mind stuff, maybe gender mind stuff. The world mind stuff was coming through. Then I had a massive calling in 2010 that I should go to India. I had I didn't know where I was going even. And I went to this place, the Ayurvedic clinic in the south of India. And this time it was a major embodiment happening. My body was getting massaged. I was having nutritional things. I was in a 40-day silence. And something inside me was saying, be somebody spiritual now. Be a spiritual person now. Have Amrit, it said. And I went to this Gurdwara, which is called the All Religions Gurdwara, which is something I said to my mum when I was younger. I said, why don't we have something that's all religions? And there I found it, south of India. It was called the All Religions Gurdwara. And it was Vaisakhi, and there were Muslims there, Hindus there, Christians there, Sikhs there. And I was in silence. And so I wrote down to Babaji, I wrote it down. I said, Babaji, can I please have Amrit? You see, there's a tiny little me there, left there. Can I please have Amrit? And I wanted to become somebody spiritual. And Babaji said, we don't give Amrit here, bete. And there was beautiful music playing. And they were singing this beautiful Shabad about Amrit. And I was drenched. That was the time my body was drenched now in that light and that love. And it was also drenched in beautiful Amrit, holy water. I felt it just coming all the way through me and out of me. And then our last part of the trip was at the Osha Center in Pune, because that's where the message had come. And when I went there, again I was in silence. And there was a workshop happening called Die to Die. I thought, that's fantastic. That's what I want. I didn't really think didn't think that's what I want. Because there's a tiny bit of me left, a very tiny bit. And although I was really immersed in this for a long time, there's a tiny bit left. And we did this beautiful Sufi workshop. And we were going round and round as they did the Sufi dance. And the thought said, why don't you become a sannyasin now? No, she's a sannyasin. I'd already been given the name earlier on that year. And I said to somebody there, I was drenched in tears. I couldn't stop crying when I saw him speaking to everybody on the, because he died by then, but speaking to everybody on a massive screen. I just was crying and crying. But there was joy there. There was love there. And then this one man said, okay, you want sannyasin? Okay, we'll do that for you. And he did. Now, I thought I was going to have a big affair going on. There'll be people there saying, oh, gosh, she's suddenly become spiritual. She's going to become a star. But nothing like that happened. In the workshop, the Sufi teacher said, okay, you're a sannyasin now. I thought, is that it? God, he said I'm a sannyasi now. Is that it? How can that happen? I'm sure there's got to be some kind of ritual. There's got to be something going on here. How can I suddenly just be a sannyasin by saying I'm a sannyasin? And then he started the workshop. He said, but I did feel good. I felt, God, now I'm a sannyasin. A tiny part of me felt, now I'm a sannyasin. And he started the workshop and he said, now you are going to put yourself in this fire. Amazing thing happened. This is how Grace did it. Grace put me, the sannyasi, into the fire. Isn't that amazing how it happened? Because I'd already witnessed the love and the light. It was all working to integrate itself, to embody itself fully. And there the sannyasin goes, the spiritual one that I thought I was. It went into the fire. And then we did the workshop, Die to Die. And said, write a whole story about your life. And then we all wrote a whole story about our life. And then he said, put that into the fire too. And then we were doing the Sufi circle. And there was nothing left of me. Just a tiny thought came, but there was nothing left. Tiny thought came. And as I was doing the circle, there was a total collapse. I just collapsed. And I was, you can say the center, but it's not a center. So don't please make a concept of it. It's a centerless center. I'd come from the periphery, right in, past the subconscious, the unconscious. Because that's the body. The body has the subconscious and the unconscious. That's your goo. And there, I felt Osho. There was nothing left of me. I felt Osho's presence just walk through. And just before I'd gone to that center, I'd hurt my head really badly. Massive hammer thing had gone into my head. And when I came here, it was there was no more identity left. So these few thoughts would come through and they'd say, oh, this is going to stop for you now. This peace business is going to stop for you now. You know, it comes and it goes and it comes. You know, it'll end. And then but it didn't end. But I couldn't go to work much either because of that hit in the head. You see, the whole of my head, my nervous system, my brain, everything was renewing itself. The body was being totally renewed. You see, the body we have cannot stand the love and the light, the truth. It can't stand it. It's not functionable for all that. And so what Grace does with all Grace's beauty, embodies, as the stuff comes out, it embodies it slowly, slowly, slowly. And then as it embodies slowly, this can take lifetimes. And on the day, which is today, is the day. It was a Tuesday for my husband. He brought my grandson, our grandson, from school. We'd eaten here on this table together. And it was absolutely like we were sitting in a lake of pure consciousness. Bodies were eating, but we were all, the whole mind was sitting in this pure lake of pure consciousness. That's how extremely peaceful the whole day was. And I had said earlier to the lovely flower lady called Mary that I want to help you make some flowers for someone that's dying or dead for their funeral. And I ended up making flowers for my own husband, his funeral. Just open the door for Sophia. Just let her out. But the consciousness was already speaking about Sophia. The consciousness was already speaking about this that was going to happen. It is already showing me something. I was seeing and feeling a great congregation of loads of people coming into this home, and the peace was beautiful. And I told him about this, about the flowers and this. And I had done a 21-day meditation. I'd already had the message that somebody was going to pass away. I thought it was going to be me in the 21 days. And then we ate together. He went away to work. He came back early that day. In 3 minutes was his death. Came in, gave him the keys, came out of his car, went in the other car, parked the other car, came back into his taxi, looked out the mirror, saw the car moving down the street, got out of the car, ran down the street, tripped, and the other car just went over him so gently. The tire was here. And he kept saying in the last few weeks, just teach me the Vipassana meditation, please. I'm breathing, please. And I said, don't worry, we'll try and go. I did mention to him about the out-breath. This is what my pure being had experienced, not the identity. Because remember, when I'd breathed out the out-breath, but I couldn't breathe in. This is it. You have to honor this out-breath, which is your death, so much. And when the breath comes in, which is your birth, it holds you in that love. Well, how many times do we honor our out-breath? You have to be really still to honor that. His food was on the table. He came out of his taxi door, went into the other car door, came out of that door, went into his taxi door, and then he ran after it so he could stop the car, get in the door, and strip. And I said in the morning, I said, love, can you wear your new shoes so you don't trip over? Wear your new jacket, because it's getting cold now. And he did. You see, consciousness is always speaking through you. It's always showing you. You cannot know, thank goodness, what's round this corner. But if you have not become one with your out-breath, how can you become one with your in-breath? If you do not honor that out-breath that goes back into eternity, how can you honor your in-breath and your life? Of course it's painful. It's the greatest pain that can be. Because it's the greatest love that there is. Pain is only for the body. Because the body can't experience enough of this love. Of course it's painful. How can it not be? And the whole world tries to fix you from this pain, medicate you. And you think for a moment that I am meditating you. You see, meditation too can be a fixer. I'm not fixing you through these meditations. Just trying to allow you to be present to you. We sat together. We spoke from that one consciousness. We loved together. How many have you really sat with, listened to, and loved? And the pain is going to be there, the more love there is. And Osho says, where there's love and death, there's the greatest transformation for you. This is your opportunity. You see, the death never happens to them. Who's died? I died as a body-mind. 34 years of me died as a body-mind. When he went, I could hear the 5 alarms that used to go off in the morning at 3, starting from 3, 3:15.
That's something we've all got in common. We all have that in common.
Yes. And this is the greatest thing. We all have experienced, hopefully, somebody we've loved who has gone. And the smell is one of the last things that goes. And the hearing goes before the smell. And then you have to, everything inside you, that this is the great joy about being attached. But we're not attached fully, that's the issue. There's no problem in being attached. Attached is a beautiful thing. I was totally attached to him. To not ever hear that voice again. This is why I say to you, listen to this voice, it's not yours. It's uniquely created with this body. It is yours in the sense of your personality. How? But you've not heard your voice yet. Because when you hear your voice, like you hear a bird song, without getting attached to the words, it's the most beautiful feeling ever. Your voice is a bird song. And this pain becomes a cellular vibration. So a celebration, that's where the word celebration comes from. It's a cellular vibration that's happening in you. Your cells sometimes have a lot of plaque outside them, a lot of darkness. And the light can't go out and the light can't come in. And he had said 2 weeks earlier, he said, my leg's hurting, I think I'm going to die. So I massaged his leg 1.5 hours. And for goodness sake, I was meant to massage it because he was going to have to run down that road. We are so valuable to each other. We miss our days being with each other, seeing each other. And I go to all these families and they're having squabbles about my husband's like this, or partner's like this, and the wife's like this. And there's really no love. Doesn't mean in love you can't have a squabble, don't get me wrong. You could have one. But it falls back into consciousness, falls back into the love. You don't even remember it. Really, ages and ages ago, I used to get into a mood, but then I thought to myself, well, what's the mood about? This is many years ago. I'm thinking, I can't even remember why I'm moody. So why am I moody with him? You see, this is the embodying even more. And then after that, I was sitting with many people who had lost somebody suddenly in a traumatic way, like we had. And I was sitting with them and I was listening to them speak as if that was me speaking. Once you hear the voice, consciousness hears the voice that is given to you, this instrument. You hear the voices of everybody else as if they're absolutely your own. There's no division left then between the other and you. And what dies is your attachment to them. And that's very painful. The more love you've had, the more pain you'll have. But that pain is the light coming into you, their love coming into you. And this can take years, because eternity has no time. I mean, for us, this is our fourth year. And the children haven't even started letting his love and light in. Because they have that armor there to protect themselves from the pain. This is what the armor's there for, to protect you from feeling the pain. And when the pain comes in, you want to suppress it quickly or avoid feeling it. Let's do an activity. Let's go there. Let's do this. And this is the nature of not embodying the love and the light that they want to give to you. So this is the fourth year. Normally I'm sitting with him or in nature, which is the beautiful thing. And we have silent time, because I've told the grandchildren, emptiness and silence is your Baba. Then you could, because when we pray, we're talking to the consciousness, to God, to our God. When we sit in the silence, we're listening. Remember those words that came to me, saying you have to go to India, or they came through the silence. I wasn't listening, don't get me mixed up. There was just pure listening. So death is a wonderful opportunity for you to release everything that's not aligned with that, with the beauty of yourself. And Guru Nanak Ji says, those who have not befriended death, how can they know about life? To what you know is true about you, that's where you're going to go, and that's what you avoid. Nowadays, they're not even showing children dead bodies. They're hidden. They're not showing a child that is so intelligent, a dead body. So the child can't ask those questions. When I touched my granddad's forehead, it was frozen. I remember the eyes looking down and my whole face gleeing up in laughter. My granddad's body's come home. And I looked at his gorgeous face and my hand touched his forehead and straight away I fell down and fainted. I was still standing and my body fell and fainted. And that was the first time I'd experienced the separation between I was still there looking and my body had fallen down. My granddad gave me that. Because before he passed, he put his hand over my head. I saw this come out of there and his hand went over my head. So many people I have been with in the moments of dying. Oh no, don't take the child to see so-and-so, they're dying. How do you know how long your child is going to live? 3 years, 4 years? And you're not even allowing it to ask the most important questions? About truth? About death? Dear thee, I used to say. Death means dear thee. Dear is your body. Thee is consciousness, God. Is it a morbid? How can something that's true be morbid? To not take a child to someone who's loved, not show them that face again, that's utmost cruelty. Unconscious behavior. Sleep. It's your fear, not the child's fear. Just to know that this body that you are in is so beautifully molded, the sculpture can mold it, and it's unique to the whole of eternity. It's not been here. And if not, let someone see it. In India, they had the bodies on those wooden. They walked through all the villages. I can't remember consciously, to tell you the truth, because I came to this country when I was 3. You know how important that is? As a kid, I used to pretend that I was dead. I used to be still. And all I could feel was my breath. And I had so much life in me. I didn't realize that I was loving that what nobody else loves out there. My favorite place. They were right outside my secondary school. It was a graveyard. Favorite place. And one of my questions when I went in there, I saw a 9-year-old child, a 9-month-old child, a gravestone, and a 90-year-old man's gravestone. And I asked God, what does that mean? 9-month-old is gone, a 9-year-old is gone and a 90-year-old is gone. What does age mean? I knew that there was no knowing about age. What does it mean? What did that 9-month-old do or didn't do to go back so early? Or that 9-year-old or that 90-year-old? It takes a long time to open the wound, which is the whole body, to let go of the armor, to open the wound, to let the light of the loved one in. That's what you are, that intensity of love and light. What's forgiveness about? Forgiveness is something that enters you when you open that wound to its healing and wholeness. I mean, I still go down the road and I put some petals all the way that he ran. I put an incense stick up there sometimes. And somebody said to me, somebody very close, they said, I thought you were a spiritual person. Why would you need to go down that road and, put the petals there and there? There is no spirituality in this. Death doesn't care what you are or not. Actually, if you are true to yourself, you will let this being, when the thought and the body of the wife comes in, I let her be. I, from the boundlessness, love her to bits, inside out. I let her be. That's something she's somehow ritually learned something from some. That's not harming anybody. I let her do it. I sit with her as if she's my baby. And I'm her parent. And I'm her lover. And I'm her joy and I'm her God. And if there was a part of me that wanted to suppress her, I'm a spiritual person. You are not allowed in here. Where's the healing of the wound in the world? For over a year, she slept like this in one corner of the bed, like a baby, like a fetus. She didn't turn over for over a year. You think I scolded her? This is not a personality complex here. This is what you are. You are the boundless, and the body is here, and the subconscious is here, the unconscious is here, and it's coming out to go back into the light and love. Nobody else can do it for you. If you think I can heal you, you've got it all wrong. I'm just allowing you to let go of the parts of you which are not letting you see your pure self. This identity will always remain here. But it's absolutely free to let where the wind takes it. Sometimes she's here. She's fully your mother. She's fully your wife. And then she goes, then I go back into the stillness. And she's back in the, well, there's no her left. There is just the stillness. She comes in, 34 years. Do you think that's just going to go out the window? Sometimes people can have such a quality presence with a child. I know somebody who had 9 months of a child in her belly, and then the child is dead when the child is born. But you think her 9 months are just going to go? No. This is what death has to give to you. It has to give you back your life. This is what it offers you. It's promised to you as your life. Now, not tomorrow when you have that Ferrari. Not tomorrow when you have that home. Not tomorrow so your children can give it back to you, or somebody else can give it back to you. Right now. As a kid, people used to come through the door and embrace them. And they'd say, "What's she on? How come she's so happy?" I say, "But what if I died in the next breath?" I didn't know what I was talking about then. You know how quietly children sit with you in school when you talk about death? They come closer to you. They say, "Miss, really? Can we really talk to you about our grandma, our granddad, our brother, our sister, our mother, our father?" Speak about this. You know, what's this all about? Big funerals, little funerals. You really aren't there. So who dies is the one that's left behind. And if they can embrace the death with all their love, the death will enter in, just like life enters in. It'll give you the empty space, the love. And as it enters into your being, expands you, the life that comes from it is a life that's real, true, here, now. Sit with it for a while. Sit with all those who have passed, transformed. Keep opening yourself up. You are so loved. This 88-year-old man recently sat with me. He talked about all these people who had passed away. He said everybody he had known as a friend or family had passed away. When will you stop to be here now? You can't even give 11 minutes. You can't stay here. Be in your body. Feel your fingers and your hands. Feel the skin on your muscles and bones. this amazing body. Which is full of all your ancestors, somebody's eye, somebody's hair, somebody's nose. You know, animals are really present, so instinctive. We both said that day, Sophia, our dog, you said, she's very still today. She sat on his lap that day for about 1.5 hours. They know so much because they don't have all these words. They're full of too many words. Somebody says something to you, oh my God, how dare they? I put on the armor. And then you have to interpret them. Thinking all the time. Be here now. Feel your own feet. Follow the breath out. That car was meant to be the one that touched him last. What an honorable car. What beautiful tires. Anything that's there at the time of dying or letting go of the body gets filled with light and love, with eternity. This whole street, this home was filled with light and love and eternity. And all of us who are here in it. My car, my body, my keys. I felt her. I felt her trying to blame herself. What if I didn't give the keys? Would still be here. I let her. I didn't change her or suddenly tell her the truth. Let the one that in you that keeps speaking, speak. You be here. Don't start having a conversation with that one. Just open and love that one. Of course it's going to speak. It's collected so much speech. Animals are so instinctive, so present. See, a flower gives its beauty. Look how beautiful these flowers are. It's a very short life, but it gives itself to you fully. We have a very short life, but we don't give ourselves fully to anyone until they, until we either trust them, until we think that we should think they love us. To give yourself fully to anything that's in front of you. That's important. to give yourself fully to anything that's in front of this mirror, you, is to give yourself to eternity. Where death and birth don't exist, there's only life happening here. There's one life happening in all of us. So see what's bubbling up in you. Be true to this. It has to be yours. What wants to be seen through. Who's got something that's rising up for them about death? Aja. Come on. Okay. Have you got something that's rising up? Yeah. Come and sit here. You don't? That's okay. Have you got something that's rising up? That's okay. Jasmine? Okay. So are there any questions? You can stay there. You don't have to come here. Any questions that are coming up? Are you in the stillness, in the silence? And if you're not, what's Yeah. You're right. MashaAllah, yeah. Autumn time is letting go. Yeah. So winter time can truly come. All the seasons amazing in this country. I mean, they're teaching. They were my greatest teachers, the seasons. To let just winter be winter and autumn be autumn. And it's just so beautiful after the winter when the spring comes. Yeah. So yeah. And you're shedding, you see. You see how long, how many years are shedding. And now the shedding is even happening. It'll continue to happen. I've had so many deaths in my lifetime. So I'm sure, and if another one came along, I would be even in more pain. You see, I, as the limited body I'm talking, will be even in more pain. It'll happen again and again. But you, as spirit, will embrace that. You, as spirit, will allow that as a portal for everybody's collective, the collective consciousness for you to use that as a portal for the collective consciousness's pain to come through you. I didn't realize after Lord Jun passed that there'd been something like nearly 11 deaths from the bottom of the street to the top. 11 deaths in my street. I didn't realize. There's quite a few afterwards, but I hadn't realized that there'd been that many. That doesn't mean that you're gloomy all the time, but you can be gloomy sometimes. You're allowed to be. As the remembrance comes in. As the memory comes in and you are this still in this light, it's coming in That being is giving you that love. It's coming in and then it goes into that light and love. And there's the little another explosion of love that comes into your heart and heals the wounds. Any questions about that? Any questions from there? Are you okay with it? Really okay with it? No? Have you experienced it?
Tell us about reincarnation.
Reincarnation.
Reincarnation. When they're born again, they only remember the past life till they're about 5. How come that? Because
as soon as you begin to speak, you kind of forget.
Yeah, he was about 5 till he remembered his past life, and then he forgot.
Okay. Do you think it's a good thing to remember your past life when you're living this life?
Myself, I do. Just check. One of my friends in Nottingham, her son used to say things, and they went and investigated, checked, and it was true. Everything what he said was true. He was born in one of the same family back again. On his grandma's side, one of the uncle's son or daughter was their child, and there's a big businessman or whatever.
Do you want to sit here or do you want to stay there?
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
We don't want the hot chicken.
Okay.
Okay. And everything what the young lady said is okay, and apparently his real mum and dad, the last life, have moved off because they were so upset. They moved from that town somewhere else.
Okay.
So everything what the little lad knows, everything was true.
Yeah. Your mind has collected everything. It remembers everything. Just like that projector, it's collected everything. But it's not like the projector because it's owned everything. It's got desires. It's got holdings of the past that you liked and didn't like. So, if the light hasn't really come in and you haven't seen it and let it go, when you come out of the body, that obviously your soul is coming out, but your mind, all that information is coming out with you. Now, where is your attention at that time? That's why I'm saying you need to be conscious of your own death. Because if your attention is conscious of, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, now you will go straight into another body. You will come straight into another body because the mind you have not come out of the mind yet to see all that stuff isn't real in the now. It's all carried from the past. So my invitation to you is to live this one life that you're already in. My invitation is to be fully alive to these moments, these breaths in this lifetime. You come in again and again and again. Yes, there are, we can go into past lives and we can go in and
But isn't this life a preparation for the next life? Aren't we here to make sure that everything we do now, so when we leave,
yes, from a mind level, you are purifying. Hopefully, you are purifying and letting more light come into this body mind. Yes, yeah. So if the body mind hasn't pured from its samskari and its karma, because you are reacting and acting from that place of mind all the time, not from the infinite, not from the Sat, then you will have to come back to free those karmas that you have collected. But if you are aware in this lifetime what's happening to you,
what school he went to, where he lived, everything.
Yeah. My invitation is to be so present with what you have right now here. For your agitation, what are you agitated about? Create a little bit of gap in it So next time it comes, you will automatically see there's less agitation because you found out the truth about it. Next time it comes, there's even less agitation, and there'll be a time in your month or day when it'll just be like this. I mean, I remember the times when I used to really get agitated, and then I remember this particular moment. My husband had said something, and I had reacted to it inside me. I turned around and it gone. That's how quickly it had actually gone. But now I'm inviting you to let it all come in, because you are the consciousness itself. So all that agitation to come in, the very fact it's coming out of the other person, or even you are reflective of the other person, it's coming into even you. It's coming out. Now the other person is you totally. This is a very different phenomena. This is a phenomena, you're talking of mind. So we are calming the mind down. We are releasing things from the mind by going into the past life.
I think it's quite interesting.
Yes, and the invitation here in the satsang, because that is just truth, the invitation here is to give nothing to the mind that's interesting, but just truth. Because the mind wants everything that's past. The invitation here is for you to be here right now. Doesn't make that question invalid. It's a very pure, honest question. The invitation here is to embrace the death. The death means, like Marcella said, it's not something that, who knows what the past, the future is going to hold for you. And it's not possible to do as a thought, but to bring it back into your body. To bring it back. I mean, for this body, sometimes the light, because you're all one, I'm all of you, I'm absolutely all of you, I'm all of consciousness. So sometimes what grace does is, presses that button in you. Because that's me, I feel it totally. I've got it now. It's right here, right now. And I will say something that you're thinking from this mouth, to press it and open it a little bit more. So you already are full of armor, full of anger. So I'll press that button in you. And now your thoughts about it, I'll say them to you, because you're already in your subconscious, to just press a little bit more of your stuff. And then there's this alchemy that's happening. It's one body, mind, and cleaning that's happening. And then it just moves into the light.
Well, that worked.
Yeah, just let me finish. Okay. So, in the presence of truth itself, this is your greatest opportunity. It can only happen in the presence of truth beautifully, without collecting a reaction and action, without collecting more karma. If you realize you have bottles of subconscious pressed things going on, and in the presence of light, that stuff will come out of you. I mean, since the last satsang, I know some who've mentioned it to me. They've had big stuff coming out of their bodies. Really big stuff. Really stuff to do with their early growth with their mothers and their fathers. And this is the invitation here. It's not to give you something that's exciting, because it's not to give you information about your past. That's exciting. Or about your future. That's exciting to the mind. So it's not feeding the mind. It's seeing the mind. Here, it's not really even feeding the body, Because the body wants comfort. It wants comfortable seating. It might want to watch the TV and go to sleep. It might want to go back on the telephone and see who's called you. So here, in a satsang, there's nobody here giving you what your body wants. It's an opportunity for you. When the breathing out happens, it happens in the stillness of death. And then the breathing in happens. It happens in the purity of the rebirth. And this dying and rebirth is continuously happening. It's like a wave. It's continuously going to happen. And you become the one that sees this wave. The mind's feeling happy at the moment. Oh, now it's feeling low. Oh, it's getting entertained now. Oh, now there's nothing for it to entertain. Oh, the body's feeling comfortable now. Oh, the body's not feeling comfortable. So you'll be able to see this. And as you see this, what karma are you really producing? So, like you said, I don't know about anybody else's next life, but already you have become a bit more purified, haven't you? Already you have left your baggage here rather than carrying it with you.
Because this is what we leave behind as well as the generations to come, right? What we're preparing all the time, do you know? We're always doing something that we can't take it with us, but we should leave.
The cleaner you are, exactly, the cleaner you are, the cleaner is your generational of children and your, families. Of course.
The world in general, I mean, I don't just mean family or friends, but I mean, visiting affects others as well. So.
Of course it does. Of course it does. If you're a ripple, have you seen it in the lakes? How big the ripple goes? You throw a little feather in the lake and it goes. Your ripple, your reaction goes the same way.
Yeah.
You're constantly, if you are in that peace, it's not actually a ripple left, it is peace everywhere. And I say to people, really look in your life. I know a lot of atrocities and things are happening around you, but look in your life, look in your street, look at your family. Who's there that might need, not your advice, don't always be given advice, who might need just this peace that you are. Come closer. But you can't give it unless you've had it, you've got it first. So let's sink into this peace, silence a little bit more. And then let's see if anything else is rising. So already you will be feeling things in the body. Let it be here. Because you are consciousness itself, you got the power to heal you, all parts of you. And therefore also the world. And the psyche of the world. And this is the new currency, your consciousness. I know people who have got mansions, but there's no peace at their minds or their hearts. They would do anything to buy this. So the new currency is your alignment, your wisdom, your here-ness. How much are your cells vibrating in this truth? Are you celebrating this truth? Are you here now? Do you have something entertaining? Something to take you into the future or the past? I'm not even offering healing here, because that would be to a body. I'm not offering anything for the mind, for the thinking mind, and the emotional mind. There is no offering here. There's no market space here. Nothing to sell. Nothing to buy here. I'm saying no postponement. Stay here now. You don't have to break your back and come into this moment of emptiness and silence and stillness. It's here. I'm not even offering you answers to your questions, keeping them open. I'm not giving you anything that you will have to leave here behind, because it all will be left behind with the body. And all that remains is your entirety, this light, this love. Just be present to this body, the sensations that are here. Just observe where they are. Just keep opening into the emptiness of space. Because I can already feel all this weight that you're carrying. I'm just giving you an opportunity to drop it here. Leave it here in this consciousness with me. Has no value for you. Has no value for me. Go back empty. Go out empty of here. And only then grace will reveal its truth to you. This light, this love, this peace. And from that, everything new and beautiful will emerge in the here and now. You know, don't matter how far your children are, they're feeling this. Your DNA strand is opening and opening and healing. I did these tests on many people. They showed them violent films to this father and the child far, far away. DNA strands were shrunk, constricted contraction of the heart muscles. Offered a meditation to this father and the child. Whole DNA strand was open and the genes were ready to be healed. I mean, you know scientifically you're one with your children. Your DNA was one. How can it not be the same with everyone? With everything? Quantum physics is showing you this now. So it starts with you. You don't struggle to be here now. It's your thinking, your habits, your inner emotions, your anxieties, your future planning. Suddenly I've got to go home and do this and do this and do this. You don't struggle. You want to be here. You want to be still and quiet for a while. This is what you want. Your being wants this for you. The one that struggles has to be looked at, directly looked at. Years, moments are flying past. You're already being dropped behind. The body itself can't lie to you, it's aging. The mind can't lie to you, it's tired of collecting all this information. It's tired. And you want entertainment? No. You want me to give you more knowledge about the past? No, you don't. You're tired of it. You want a bit of excitement? No, you don't. You want rest. Be with you, this body. Let all the sounds here take you in. Feel your feet, your hands, heart beating. Feel the skin on your tissues and muscles around the skeleton. Feel the seat you're sitting on, supported by the earth. When you're with you, the whole world's with you. And no body dies, but your thinking of them dies. Because there's no future left with them. And then you try and build a future by thinking of the past continuously. The soul goes back to the light. the water to the water, the earth to the earth, the air to air, fire to fire. When you are in your truth, in your love, so are all the elements of the body. And when you are here, you cannot be in the thinking mind, memory mind. So I don't know what dying is. Death hasn't come to me yet. And death will not come to you either. It doesn't come. Try and find it. Even in your sleep, you're dreaming. It's the thoughts, the future you can't have. You could call that, I suppose, dying, but that's not true either. Because I'm sitting with all those who are not here in person, and with all those who are here, and all those who are yet to be here. Just a little invitation for you to discover what dying really is. And pain is transformation. And memories of love are love. And life, there's only one life happening everywhere. So you will go through this for the next good 21, 60 days definitely. Look after your body, nurture it, honor it. Watch it, its beauty, its hands, incredible hands. Touch one another from a place of kindness. Eat little, but consciously. It is the new body. That water seems to be there. I've sipped it, it's my body. In truth, it is my body even when it's there. But in your truth, it's your body when you sipped it. That's your experience. Until the pure experience of death and birth is yours, and beyond is yours. There's a possibility here, you see, for you to understand a little bit more deeper, to let go a little bit more joyfully and peacefully. And you will have to drop it in the end. Why not live fully? Little things. I see people stuck on little things. Even in relationships, there's only one or two things. And the same things are passed through their mothers and their fathers. You see the whole thread play itself out, and you see the whole future they're creating for the children. See it all instantly when you see from truth. It's not that much stuff that we're really stuck on, but it is. It is a lot for the body mind. But you really see it. Share your love. Share this one love. It's not mine. It's not separate. We're all in it together. And anything that's coming up for you, let it come. To sit with somebody who it looks like, well, the body does drop. That's all dying is, dropping of the body. Sit with something like that. You are so lucky if you can. And just sit. Don't console somebody who has had a death in the family. Don't give them something interesting you think is interesting to talk about. Don't take them away from their moment of pain. Suffering and pain are two separate things. Suffering is optional. Pain transforms you. Sit with somebody, family, who somebody has passed through. Don't console them, I'm saying. Sit with them. Maybe hold a hand if they allow you to. Look into their eyes now and again with gratitude, because they're taking you into the truth. Don't talk too much to them. If they choose to talk, listen. They don't want your words. They don't want your consolement. They want to just be known, to be seen. They want to just be seen, because the one they loved can't see them anymore. They want to be heard, because the one they thought they loved can't hear them anymore. They want to be touched, because the one they loved is not there to touch them anymore. These are body things, but the body will allow you to be at that peace. There might be something to say, but if you haven't experienced it yourself, what can you say? They'll know. They'll know straight away if you're connected or not connected. They know. Somebody hasn't experienced the grief. Somebody can talk to you 1,000-fold. It's all like a teacher talks about a subject that somebody else has written about, and it's not their own. Great opportunities are given to you in your life when you see a leaf falling from that tree. It's not crying to the tree is not crying to that leaf. But it's giving back to the tree just by falling underneath it or somewhere, unknown to anything that there is. Do you want to say something?
Something came up. It's when I used to work in the community as a support worker. I've been to people's houses who their spouses have lost their other half. And they're very withdrawn. You sit there. And sometimes they would just talk I miss my partner. And you can feel the emotion and everything, you know. And it's very deep to hear just somebody just talk. But then I had a totally different experience that really shocked me. I'd gone to this lady's house first time. I don't know this lady. I walked into her house. It's not a regular support worker because I had to cover a different area. So I walked into her house. I introduced myself. She looked at me. And next minute, she grabbed my hands and she started crying. She looked into my eyes. And she said, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. And it felt that I didn't know what to say to her. And it felt like I had died at that moment when she said that. Because all her fear somehow had gone straight through me really, really fast. And I just didn't know what to say to her. I just looked into her eyes and just, and she just held me from my hands for quite a while until she could stop herself. And I thought, what do you say to a person like that? You know, I could just make something up. I didn't say anything. I just acknowledged her pain. That was very deep.
That's beautiful. There's two things in there which I'll pick up on. But to just listen to her and hear her, that allowed him to. One thing, can you hear the thought? The thought that said, I died. How can a thought say I died? That's just a thought. Because when death happens, believe me, it's not the end of you. It's like the reincarnation of you. And that's not easy for the body-mind.
That's what we say about suicide. It's a selfish way of living because it's those that are left behind, you know, that suffer when you take your own life. What about
And it ripples, and a suicide will ripple through generations and generations, and there has to be somebody there that can really say, I'm going to embrace death fully, for it to go back into the peace, because it can. I mean, it's their death. They don't die, as we've said. They drop the body, but it's the others that die. The mind, the questioning, what could I have done better? You know, so many people, you know, how could I have changed it? So it activates that fear in the mind of the other that's living. So that fear wasn't there before. So they were a bit more alive. And now all the fear's there, all the thoughts are there, and now they're underneath, they're suppressed in this deeper death that happens to them, the ones who are living. So a thought said, I was listening to this woman and I died. You see, the thought is talking all the time, and yet it has no experience from out of the body and out of the mind. Because death, remember, doesn't happen to the body, because the body's dropped here. The body stays here, goes back to elements. So nothing's happened to the body's dropped. You come out of the mind, obviously, when you've dropped the body. So what it happens to is not the thought. The thought is just still probably in the air, somebody else has recycled it and had it. So the thought that saying I have died, these are big things, you see. When you are really present here, you wouldn't really use a word like that to a person. You wouldn't feel that you had died. You suddenly would have life in you when you're with somebody who has had a death. You will have some life in you, some seeing in you, some hearing in you. Okay, like I said, sit with yourselves. Any other questions?
I've got one.
Yeah.
Just, you mentioned earlier at the beginning of the talk that you had a death experience, and I've heard you say it over the years. I think it was a childhood fear, and I've asked you this before, but not had much time for the answer. You mentioned that you heard the screaming, there were fires, and there was a stench. You were aware of it?
Yeah. The first, when I came out the body and the mind, the first death of the body and the mind, well, I mean the body was dropped here.
Yeah.
And obviously the mind was dropped here because there was no attachment, none of that stuff was going on. My experience was, from that place, there was, I don't know whether it's been a very deep subconscious conditioning of me, of hell and heaven. As a child, when I went to Christian school and that, I don't know if it's subconscious, but it is a subtle mind still. Still a subtle mind. If you're having forms, you still have a subtle mind. And I really did feel the paradox of the hell, of the screams and the smells and the fires as I was rising up. And then obviously they went, now I was rising up. So I personally, on the level of my soul, did experience it. But it's still a mind. It's when I wrote the back and I went into the emptiness and went out of the thought. That was death totally out of the mind. Because when you come totally out of the mind, there's no thought, there's no emptiness, and you can't see anything. Maybe I could see that because I was a soul. And that's heaven and earth still is form. You got to remember, it's still form. It's very subtle form. It's probably, heaven is a celestial form. It's where the angelic realm is. But when you come out of the mind totally, then you don't even have that either. When you come out of the very subtle mind as well, because you will always have, you have your individual mind, you have the humanities mind, the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, you have all the earth mind, you have the universal mind. So the mind gets bigger and bigger and bigger and subtler and subtler and subtler, more truer, more aligned. And that mind will always remain like that. There will always be forms from that mind. There will always be different bodies that appear from the mind. And I was saying, we're giving so much attention to telephones nowadays, to our mobile phones. Who knows, that might be a new technology mind form that might appear in consciousness as an individual. We don't know anything of that, what's happening. I personally did feel that. I felt myself rising. I already appeared at a certain vibrational level when I came out the body, because that was very far away, but I could sense it was there, that screaming and stuff. So already coming out of, I'd lived quite apart from hitting my brother, which was a massive thing for me, massive thing. I don't recall really doing anything which I, might call really bad, if you might put it in those terms. Because my grandfather always said, over here is somebody who's ticking all the bad things you do, and this shoulder is somebody who's ticking all the good things. So I used to at night reflect of all the good, and he said, this is the one you got to follow. So I used to actually at night reflect on that every night. I literally used to, the next day, think, oh God, I shouldn't have spoken to somebody like that, or I shouldn't have been a bit moody like that. I was very conscious of it at a very young age. So I don't know. I feel that was one of my subconscious collective.
I used to hit people all the time. And that's that.
But I was aware. I was conscious of hitting my brother. I was really conscious of it. I mean, I know now what happened and why it happened. I mean, now I know the truth of it. But at those times, it was. If you see something happening around you, it goes into your psyche.
It was something I was so angry as a very young kid when I was at school, and then I don't know whether it's being the upbringing of Catholic.
Yeah.
That was almost imprinted into me, and fear came.
The fear of it.
But since I've been with the light and done more of this work, I can see that I have a lesser fear of death. It's still there, but I don't have that fear. I used to have terrible fear of it, but now I feel more at peace about it. I'm thankful for your experience and others and my own personal journey. So it's good.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that one down. So okay, let's just sit with ourselves again. Feel yourself being present here, and then you'll close today. Be present with your body. This is through which everything happens. Your body. You see, when you're dropping away, you're dropping and shedding the mind body, then what arrives here is truth and liberation and your beauty. And just to breathe and be with the person, or whoever or whatever you are with in the moment, just to arrive in your body. And not to expect anything from them. Just to arrive here with your body is arriving here with them. Don't miss life. Life wants you to arrive here where there's no death, no birth, just this love and this light, in which bodies appear You're so lucky to have living people with you. Living beings. And And I thank my husband Lochan for today. I thank His love that is here, embracing us all. And I thank Him for embodying this love and light inside me even more, and understanding in even deeper depth others who have loved and seen their loved ones transform. Celebrating doesn't mean shouting and screaming and pretending to be joyous. It can be a quiet inner tranquility of peace and stillness. It can be a gentle song, gentle whisper, or something joyous arises inside you. That is like your wedding with eternity. Your true teacher, your wisdom, your guide to how to live fully and why to live fully without the why. So thank you fully for being with me today. You're beautiful beings. There's one beauty here in many forms. Sleep. Sat now.